Hi there, and thank you for joining my channel today. So today we're going to be discussing what happens to your Shell International Pension Scheme when you die. We're talking about the Shell Overseas Contributory Pension Fund. Okay, the number one thing you need to understand is your pension scheme may be different from your colleagues. So there's pre-2009 and post-2009 in terms of your normal retirement day, or NRA, or NRD, as it's referred to, normal retirement age or normal retirement day. NRA and NRD, both interchangeable in the industry. So if it was before 2009 when you joined the scheme, your normal retirement date will be from age 60. If you joined the scheme after 2009, your normal retirement date will be from age 65. So that's very important to understand in terms of the basis of what happens if you were to pass away. So most importantly, the Shell scheme, or the Shell Overseas Pension, has a fantastic spouse benefit. It's 60%, okay, of whatever your guaranteed income for life would be from your scheme, your spouse will receive 60% of that. Now, for those of you who are asking, well, I'm not married anymore, so do I lose my spouse benefit? Not necessarily. If you go deep inside the detail of the Shell scheme, if you want to have a conversation about that, you can have a chat with us. It actually says that even if someone is over the age of 18 and they are financially dependent on you, even if they are not your spouse, it is at the discretion of the trustee for them to pay them a spouse pension. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm not really comfortable with something being at the discretion of someone else, but that's the fact. So it's 60% for your spouse, or potentially at the discretion, it can be a scheme pension to anybody over the age of 18. Now, then we move on to children as well. So under the age of 18, your children do have benefits they can receive from your scheme, which are guaranteed. Between age 18 and 23, your children can also benefit from your scheme in the event of your death if they are still in training or full-time education. Once they reach age 23, whether they're doing a master's, an MBA, whatever they're doing, the benefits from there will stop. So that's something that you need to understand in a lot of detail. So that's kind of a broad overview. As I said, if you want to have a more detailed conversation about what happens in your specific situation, going through your information, you can book in below via the link with Calendly to find a time and a date suitable for you. You can also just have a quick WhatsApp conversation with me. I have a lot of clients in the Shell Overseas scheme and also the Shell UK scheme. So a lot of people have done a lot of analysis before you want to have an informal chat first about anything. Now, a couple of the points we've mentioned here earlier, as I mentioned, I would say that the Shell scheme is pretty advantageous in terms of the benefits it offers. And a lot of schemes, even for children, will say it's at the discretion of the trustees for anyone, even under the age of 18. However, the Shell scheme is a little bit more generous. And as I already mentioned, the 60% is more generous than the 50%. However, some of you might be watching this and thinking, okay, yeah, but I've heard if I complete a transfer out of my overseas scheme, which might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million, I can have 100% of that asset passing on to my beneficiaries inside, for example, a QNUP structure or whatever the pension solution might be. That is true and that is correct. So while 60% spouse benefit for your wife or your spouse or your husband, whatever it might be, is very beneficial, it's not as beneficial potentially as having 100% passing on to your named beneficiary. The big advantage inside a pension pot that you own yourself as well is that you can define exactly who you want your beneficiaries to be. So that may well be your child who's age 28, 35, 43, your spouse, your husband, your partner, whatever it is, you can define it. You can say 25%, 10%, 15%, whatever you want to do, you can split your money like that, which obviously is a big advantage. However, you're obviously giving up the indexation of your scheme, which obviously is very strong. What that effectively means is your Shell Overseas Contributory Pension Fund will continue to grow, guaranteed, irrespective of what happens in the markets. Now, if you're a 1 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5 in terms of your risk profile, which is conservative or conservative balanced, it's almost certain that if you were to take a low equity portfolio, say 20 to 40% equity, you're unlikely to outperform the indexation of your current Shell Overseas scheme. However, if you're a balanced 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, or 5 out of 5, which is adventurous, you may well, over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, be able to easily outperform your scheme. If you look at, for example, the long-term returns of the equity markets on an adventurous portfolio, which is circa 95% equities, the long-term return of equities is actually far higher than inflation over the course of time. If you want to have a conversation about this and get into more detail, you know how to find us. You can start the conversation, informal or formal, whatever you want to do, to find out whether or not you think transferring a scheme might be in your interest or not. When it comes to putting together a report for your Shell Overseas Contributory Pension Fund, there's no cost for the report that we put together. It's an analysis that we do. We send it over to you in black and white for you to have a full and clear understanding of whether we think it's advantageous for you to leave the scheme or not. That's very different to the Shell Contributory Pension Fund in the UK, missing out the O, which is the UK version of the scheme, which does require safeguarded defined benefit asset advice from a pension transfer specialist. There's a fixed fee for that report, which is typically between £3,000 to £4,000. Probably by the time this video goes live, it's gone up by another £500 because of the way the insurance is working at the moment. But that's just a slight differentiation between the two, which you need to be very careful with. Guys, I hope this has been a useful video. Please like and subscribe below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.